What time is the dinner?
7.
We're live!
To massage and then, yeah. We're live?
Yeah,
Yep.
how's it going?
We're live and alive?
Oh, welcome to the Naked Mothership. Around the table. This is Prima. Don't laugh, you're going to make me nervous. Prima Jalichandra-Sakuntabhai
Awesome.
Said it right.
and Mila Solomon.
Hello?
You didn't even practice. You got it on the
Pretty
first
good.
try.
Michael Honeycomb,
Hello, hello.
Dhyan, and Earl Rothstein. And today,
Today we're gonna bitch about things.
2019.
Yeah. We're on a low energy, I guess.
Like,
We're loading now. We're in a process of recovering mode.
reloading.
buffering, yes.
Yeah, buffering. Buff. Anyone wanna start?
Start with Prima.
Oh
What do
god.
you do? What is your life?
The hardest question.
You're currently based in LA, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do there?
Well, I'm an artist, and I guess mainly I do performative lectures, which are, I guess like this like mixture between like performance and lecture, and I focus my research on architecture, and kind of like how they express the current power that's in place, and because I kind of lived through Europe and America, I think a lot about Western power and ideology specifically, and how it is translated in the construction of like houses or like state buildings, but also urban planning. But then I guess like in my lectures, I kind of like play around with the format of presenting these, I guess, architectural archetypes by using multiple projectors, and also like moving the projectors themselves as well. So my speech is always being interrupted by my own movements, and also creating kind of this like multiple like sensory experience.
Why do you think you chose like that format? Because like I was thinking about this recently too. Like somebody was talking about like talks, like lectures, and like TED Talks specifically, and how like boring they get after you've seen like 10 of them, because the format is always the same, and the intonation, the cadence.
Public speaking.
The cadence is
Right,
always the same.
right.
So like you can't like after like 10, it's just like my brain turns off.
Saturated.
And I was like saying like, I wish more people would actually break format of presentation just to like
Make it more dynamic.
engage people more. Yeah. Why do you?
Yeah, I guess I have multiple reasons. The first one being that before I got into making performative lectures, I was into sculpture, but I was kind of like doing a lot of research for it, and then feeling that I couldn't present these research without like making the sculptures like didactic. So I just start to narrate them, and I guess like the feeling then just resembles the lecture. But as I start doing it, I just realized that for me, like I'm not just interested in criticizing something like, I guess, criticizing the architecture that I'm talking about, but also the format of like knowledge production that is part of the West. And for me, that kind of like comes along with like.
You mean in
hegemony or whatever?
You mean specifically in
academia?
Academia, yeah.
And do you find that it comes out different as opposed to, say, writing something on the same topic?
Yeah, because the tone is different, and I think that I also put my body in view, and I guess like there's something undeniable about my physical appearance and also my accent, that even if I'm trying to emulate this like Western academic, there's something off, and then my themes of late has also been also talking a lot about these like patriarchal figures through the architectures that they design, and like drawing a I guess like a fantastical universe where these architectures are a way for them to replicate themselves or like reproduce themselves. So also thinking like there's like a lens through like which I look at my own gender identity as well through that.
So you mean like the architectural styles are also like living as well
Yeah. So
in a way?
yeah, one of my recent projects called I really like long names. LEHM, Le Corbusier Entering Hadrian's Mausoleum, 1965.
Wait, what? Again, and
So
slower.
LEHM is just the abbreviation of the full sentence, which is Le Corbusier Entering Hadrian's Mausoleum, 1965.
What does that mean?
I'll tell you. Well, Le Corbusier is like the father of modernist architecture, and basically he died in 1965. So I kind of create this lecture based on a consecration of him being able to be part of Emperor Hadrian's mausoleum once he died, which is not true. I just made it up. But I kind of like was comparing these two types of architecture, where the Roman emperor also kind of designed a very rational way of organizing space.
Mm-hmm.
He created this like cylinder. Yeah, I guess I would say that's like divided in like equal cells for like each of like the royal, like the imperial family member to be buried in, and you have like this like one single entryway. And I mean, looking from like a floor plan, it kind of looks like a cell, like you know when you cut.
Like a like
If you look at it from top
Mhm.
view.
Yeah, and similarly, like I guess in modernist architecture, they do divide a lot of things into units and cells, and so I kind of like.
That
made-
isn't
made that
necessarily the
comparison.
case for a tomb. Many tombs
Right.
are
Yeah.
like one. Even in royal tombs, that
Mhm.
they're all next to each other. That there aren't necessarily rooms dividing these.
Yeah, that's why I thought that this specific architecture was interesting to use, because it seemed like the emperor really thought about the relationship of the body and the monument, I guess. Yeah. I know I got
That's
lots-
that's
I
how
got
you
lots
wanna
of
be
thoughts.
buried.
So you're
if
comparing-
you someone alive.
you're comparing that style with
With like Le Corbusier's modernist architecture, and he also kind of designed this like he designed like a series of urban planning for Algeria that at the time was occupied by France, which is based on like curves and circular
Wavy.
ways. Yeah. So anyway, so I used those two forms to kind of like talk about the relationship between the architects and also the body. Yeah.
Have you looked at like other ancient forms of architecture as well, like styles?
Well, actually, I guess the reason I brought up Hadrian and Le Corbusier is that I start to see them as my avatars in a way. Like I've been fascinated by Emperor Hadrian because he's also kind of the first and only openly like gay Roman emperor, and he presided over a lot of architectural projects and saw himself more as poet, philosopher, and I know there's something like very romantic around him. But at the same time, he also advanced the Roman conquest to like the furthest east it has ever got. And then Le Corbusier was also someone that I grew up. I spent like high school in France, just like hearing about all the time. And then I actually went to like the place where he died on this kind of random trip. So I don't know. I'm just like parsing through my own connections and like why am I attracted to certain things. But I've looked at like Chichen Itza and things like that too before. Chichen Itza, it's like the Mayan pyramid in the Yucatan,
Okay.
and it's like purely like built on like how the movement of the sun. So like at certain time of the day or the year, shadows would happen differently on the steps. I think something like that. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess like my other recent project, I directly looked at structures of freeways in LA, and wanting to use it as a way to think about history, how like these like giant structures kind of like overlap on top of one another, but you have like one line going this way and the other going the other. And but somehow like when they do meet, like you can, I don't know, like a new space emerges in the in between.
Yeah, do you think that influences like the social culture as well, like the urban planning, like and like where
Yeah.
what places are connected to what, like how
And what places get separated once the
Mm.
because once you put a freeway somewhere,
Right.
then it's going to be hell of a time walking across the street.
Yeah, that's kind of like my experience living in Boyle Heights, which is like Mexican residential neighborhood south of like downtown in LA, and it is completely like run through by like freeways, and so I like to think that too, like what enables movement, like I guess like what kind of movement is enabled by this structure, and like what is obstructed by it. And obviously it tends to happen in like lower income neighborhoods.
Is there any interesting areas like underneath the highways in
Yes.
LA?
Sorry. Like yes. Oh my god, thank you for asking that. Because no, I'm just like really obsessed about
Great
this space.
places.
Yeah, and so there's a park by my house called Hollandbeck Park, and it has a lake and like I think like 2-3 fountains, but over the lake is this freeway, and so like for me, even when I go there, I kind of like think about how it embodies this paradox of like attempting to have like some sort of urban reprieve, but then
Contrast between
yeah.
concrete and actual like
and then
real
you're
nature.
yeah, and then you're always reminded like I don't know, there's like you're just constantly commuting on this freeway. But the other thing that I really like about this, I guess like freeway juxtaposing with the lake, is that at midday, when you go underneath the freeway, there's like a gap between the two freeways that then creates like a line of light that traverses through like the street, but also like the park and all that stuff. And
So
I mean,
the
just,
entire
like,
park is underneath the
no,
highway.
just like a part of the lake
Part of it,
is,
right.
yeah. And then the lake itself reflects onto the concrete and creates like this kind of like shimmering
Yeah,
light.
nice.
Yeah, I actually have like a few good like footage of that too.
So like it's that the line that the beam of light created like through
Mm-hmm.
through these freeways
Yeah.
that it creates these very specific lines that you can only see part of the scene.
I really like in Bangkok, like
only during the day.
Right.
They don't have like special light during the night to make that light.
No,
line,
I mean
or...
other things happen at night.
Yeah, I was gonna say in
What's
Bangkok,
happening
I
at night?
really like when it's really rainy and if you're below a highway, every now and again like a truck hits like a big pool of water on the highway, and the water comes over the highway, and then
That's
like
so beautiful.
you can see like the reflection of the like through the water, the refraction through the water from headlights, and it's really beautiful. Like sometimes it's like a wave just like going across the highway.
Yeah, definitely the what do you call it, rail lights?
The rail lights
Yeah, the
on the rails for the highway.
no, the rear lights from the cars.
Oh yeah.
They do appear like between the gap, yeah. And then they just kind of like, have this kind of weird like phantom light quality.
It's crazy how much it changes the environment. Like when if like you've been somewhere for many years, you've seen the same place, and then all of a sudden they build the BTS over it, like just by blocking the sun out, like how it changes the feeling of the place like so drastically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that has an effect on people like psyche that are like living there or like working there.
Mhm.
For sure, it has some kind of effect because I think it also can make you feel a little bit claustrophobic in a way. Like, for example, here in Bangkok, like we have a lot of this with the BTS and the bridges and this. And sometimes the roads are like super busy, a lot of people. You don't have a lot of, and also have something like huge
Yeah.
on top of you. So it's gonna,
Yeah, and the way the city is zoned, it's a lot
yeah.
closer together. There's some tall buildings in LA, but there's lots of they're pretty far apart.
Mhm. Definitely. Yeah.
In like the States, is most of the freeways, is it planned from the start, or is it more like an afterthought? Like in Bangkok, I think most of it's like an afterthought because they need to move more traffic, so they just build like,
Yeah.
on top of things. Is it kind of this? Because it's more. It seems more like integrated though, no? In the
Yeah,
States,
I want to
so-
say that it is, but then they keep like, kind of adding branches to it inside the city.
So
I think
they have to like cut through the city
Yeah.
again.
I think that it might have been more planned out.
Just
like,
because it's
throughout the
planned
country.
doesn't mean it's planned well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, LA is a good example of like bad urban planning. I would say it's really not very convenient to get from one place to the other.
And like the law like of freeways is that adding more lanes on a freeway doesn't alleviate the traffic. It just means that there's more cars that are going to be using the freeway, and it's just going to be as clogged as ever.
Well, that's a different thing, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah, but that's something you got to take into
Too many
account
cars
when
on
you're,
the
when you're
roads.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've read somewhere that there's like a reasoning behind like the naming of freeways, and I think like the single numbers go like north to south, and like double or three digits go east to west or something like that.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
know
but
that.
that's actually like a plan. Like you can like look the numbers and you can see where it goes and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Kansas City, where my family's from, is like super gridded out. The whole city is like really, really like blocked out. All the streets are like on a grid, so it's really easy to like find some place because you can basically just go until you reach the street that you're looking for. You just go one direction. You know that the road is like that way. You can just go until you find the road, basically.
It was really interesting when I first moved to Chicago. That was the planning of downtown is like that too. It's very grid-like, and I don't know. Like I guess like because it was the first US city that I arrived in, like I was grateful for it because it just made it so much easier to like navigate around. Even though also feels very, I don't know, stark.
Static.
Yeah.
Feels,
yeah, it's more of a city.
It's not very-
Chicago,
it's not very
even
beautiful.
compared to
Yeah, it's
LA.
just
You
blocked.
have to have a car
Yeah.
to,
Mhm.
you know. If not,
Yeah.
it's a nightmare. You cannot.
Yeah, do you think like compared to Bangkok, like Bangkok is pretty car dependent as well. Do you feel like any similarities between like Bangkok and LA or
Yeah.
in that sense?
I kind of always like to joke that they're the same cities, or I don't know. Like I see a lot of things that reminds me of Bangkok when I'm there, but also Mexico City. So I think that's something about LA that just doesn't really maybe have its own unique identity, but like encroaches upon like these other places. But definitely I start using the freeway because I want to think about Bangkok as well, and but then I feel like I would never dare to do the same thing as I did in LA. Like I basically bike underneath freeways there and like hold my phone camera in one hand. But because I bike these like streets like all the time, so I kind of like I know like how I can control it and stuff. But I feel like the traffic here is more erratic. Like you don't know what. Like I mean, I can barely cross the street. So.
Yeah, motorcycle flows through
Yeah.
through the cars, and whether a car is
Right.
Well, I guess as a car, you'd probably just get stuck more often. That they're not as erratic, except when they're trying to make illegal U-turns. Yes.
Although something that I really enjoy being here and experiencing the city on like motorbikes is that I feel like it's almost like swimming because it just kind of weaves through these cars, and then they move pretty slowly because of traffic, and so it's almost like these gigantic mammals,
The buses,
moving.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you're just kind of on this like tiny fish going through it.
Yeah, I could see it being like
makes
a.
sense now that you say that.
I could see it being like a bloodstream or something, like bigger cells, like all like moving together in one stream.
Yeah.
You said you spent some time in. You mentioned Mexico City.
Right.
You spent some time
Yeah.
there.
Well, I did a residency there for 2 months back in 2016. And yeah, the first thing I thought when I landed was like, oh my god, this is like Bangkok. Just because there's so much like street life. And also, strangely, the architecture, like part of the architecture, the more like kind of like concrete and like glass doors, have a lot of that too. And the roll, like the metal roll up doors,
Shutters.
yeah. And the vegetation is very similar, but they definitely do have more trees, and then there's like a whole area which is kind of in the style of like Art Deco, and that's where I was staying, and it was interesting because like I think they were taking a lot of like influences from France and like Haussmannian boulevards and stuff like that, and to see that like because I also grew up in Paris, so like seeing that reinterpreted in like on like an American continent, it's striking.
It's interesting. I hadn't thought about it before, but they're actually pretty similar in the sense that the understructure is built around canals and how old Tenochtitlan that the entire city was flooded on the lake in the same way that Bangkok was before they started paving all the roads.
There's canals in Mexico before.
Oh yeah, Tenochtitlan, yeah, a massive city. And gardens, like floating gardens.
Floating gardens.
Yeah. The Aztecs, brilliant engineers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's like so many like strange architectures there to just like, I don't know, I guess like admire, but also like think of like it's interesting how history can be made so tangible through them, because there's like the main cathedral on the Zocalo in Mexico City was built from like the stones from the pyramids when the Spanish like took over, and then also like the whole city is like sinking in its own ruins, and so it's, I don't know, there's like some sort of like reminder that you're not supposed to be there, like you are
that
behind
what
there,
were
sorry.
rivers became swamps through the
Right.
through the
Spanish
trying to
colonization, yeah.
transplant a European city
Right.
into.
Like here as well at the cemetery. Like one part of the cemetery is all swampy.
The Chinese cemetery?
Yeah.
That a lot of
Bangkok
the
sinking
plants
as well.
and the roots that held the city up.
Yeah.
What did you do for your residency there?
Oh, it was kind of like a seminar-based residency. So there's like a theme called Archive Fever, and then like every week we would meet to like do some readings and like listen to seminars. Then also they were taking us around the city, and then at the end of the residency, we kind of decided to like organize an event. So I did a performative lecture for it too.
What is the theme of Archive Fever? What does that mean?
It's from Derrida, I guess like post-structuralist like essay on history and the archives, and I guess like his argument is that we should be able to use archives to reinvent the future and not just like storing the past. Yeah, again.
Which city do you find like more, I don't know, let's call it interesting? I mean, I know
it's
like,
hard.
like you
Yeah.
said, it's same but different.
Right.
In a way, but
the Thai thing.
yeah.
I mean, it's hard. I think because I lived in different places,
Oh, do you have a favorite?
Yeah.
Like, what is your?
Wow.
And that's even harder.
Yeah, that's even harder because like I feel like maybe if you asked me like a couple of years ago, it would be without like hesitation Tucson, Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shout out Arizona.
Go Arizona. Just because I think it was not like it was like the smallest city that I ever lived in, and I didn't really know what I was gonna do there, and I end up like meeting a really strong like art community, and I kind of like felt like I was living out my like childish dreams of wanting to be a cowboy. But like not like horse riding and all that stuff, but like
in a frontier town.
Yeah, in a frontier town. Like I would like show up to work like really hungover, and and then like after work we would just like go and sit in this place called Hotel Congress, and it's like one of the oldest hotels there or something. Like John Dillinger was caught there, and
just feels
and
absolutely,
and it's like right across the street from like the Amtrak station.
The train station.
So you always hear the train go by, and then you're just like drinking your whiskey and your beers, and I don't know, it's a great life.
I miss the train. The train is such like a symbol of my town in Arizona, because the train goes right through the middle of the town. Like you can't be anywhere in the city without like being able to hear the train, and there's like 50 trains a day or something go through there. So like it's just constant, but it's nice. You get used to it. Like it doesn't like bother you, and then it becomes like a character of the town. It's really nice.
When you get used to it.
After you get used to it. It doesn't take long to get used to it. It's not a very loud train, because I think the only time they blow their horn is like right in the center, just like once.
Pass through the junction, through the road junction.
Yeah. It's pretty.
Okay. Yeah. Mila.
Maybe twice.
You're an artist as well.
I'm not sure.
Talk about your work.
With what work?
Mila is also very responsible for getting Naked Mothership going, which has been...
Don't give me that too much credit. Come on, it's all on you.
something she's been hassling us about for a long time, which I'm
Yes.
very glad.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, well, I'm doing my best. If I'm not doing anything, at least I can push someone else to do whatever. So, yeah. Well, what do you want to know? I don't know. I don't. I think I'm quite. I'm a bored person in general. I think not much to tell. Maybe this interview it will be better at night. Yeah.
That's fair enough. Well, your photography that it's got an architectural element to it, that taking the
I
taking
guess.
the skyscrapers and buildings that how they.
I actually love taking photos of buildings, especially in Bangkok. I find it very interesting because I think my first time in Bangkok was for a visit, and I was a kid. I was like 20 years ago, and it's very interesting to see how the city changed through the years. When I first got here, it was flat, no skyline, no tall building, no train, no sky train, no underground, no nothing. Basically, just road. A lot of traffic, of course. That was back then as well. But it's amazing. I find it very interesting. It's very beautiful. For example, if you riding on like Sapan, Pumipun, which is like splitting and have so many angles and like wow, how did they do that? It's amazing. And also you see a lot of modern that sit next to old townhouse, which you have a lot of the contrast between modern and authentic Thai or local things is very you can really feel it. You can also I think feel in the energy, and it changed a lot of things.
It was one of my first impressions of this city as well, was this kind of really crazy Blade Runner futuristic things next to something that's just really ancient and just completely just just put together without seemingly
contrast,
any plan.
Yeah, and in the beginning you think it's not really working together. I mean, when it just started, you have everything is, let's say, maybe 5th floor, 8th floor, and then suddenly they have like a new building, glass, the contrast. But once you have more and more and more and more, it's kind of like it actually seems like it's fit together, like fit quite good. I don't know. And
Stitch it like quilt patch.
Yeah. I don't know. And like a lot of concrete, but we don't have many trees. But you have a lot of plants on the street. Which I'm quite surprised people don't steal and take it home, because in other countries, no, someone steal like a plant on the street, you just take it, like it's here, this street, no one wants it, so, but if you're talking about photography and seeing things through the lens, the angles are very interesting, because especially in the city, that if you look straight and up, it's completely different. And you can, if you rotate the angle, so you can capture like different things at the same time, but they merge to one image, which is not really obvious what it is. You can see like round buildings, and then like glass, and then sky in the middle, or like a bridge, and then if the angle, if you like shoot it from like underneath the bridge, so you see,
Right.
Yeah, I really
the
like.
bridge, the sky, clouds, and then.
I really like doing that in photography as well, like distorting perception to where you're like not quite sure what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Taking away a frame of reference.
Just make it more interesting. I think it's also it's make it more sharp in a way. It's not just like a building.
Are you able to take all the photos you want, like on a pedestrian level, or sometimes you feel like you need to be a bit higher because there's like so much height?
It's it also depends on equipment and stuff, and by the law with like the drone photography, so it's changed a lot,
Right.
I guess. I think if let's say if I'm on a rooftop, which is really high, and you can see a lot of like a wide angle, I like to zoom in, like to get close and like cut it, not just like capture the skyline, and so it's make it more interesting. For the rest of it, like I said before, if you're looking from to the top, not to the bottom, I think I prefer that one, because you see things differently in a way, and you don't really feel like a spy. Because if you're in a I don't know, in a rooftop, and then you have a good lens with a zoom, you see a lot of weird stuff. I have to say. Yeah. And then it
especially
kinda,
in Bangkok, not many people have curtains.
Yeah.
It's too hot for that.
Yeah. And then it's sometimes it makes you feel like you're a stalker, or like you're some kind of a pervert in a way. Not that you're looking for that, but it's captured it by mistake. I was in a few weeks ago. I went to Kopangan, and I was on the ferry, and it was no many people, maybe like 5 people. So I was just lying. I was so super tired and exhausted. I was just lying down on the mid level of the ferry. There was a couple standing at the top, but I could see. So I was lying down here, and then was like the stairs, and the couple stand here. There was seats. So I was like minding my own business, really. But then, like, the couple suddenly stood up, and then because of the wind, I can actually, see their underwear, their ass, their everything. And of course, I had to take a photo of that. Because why not?
Mila is actually an upskirt photographer.
Yeah. I'm just trying to I don't know, amuse myself in a way.
And then you do a lot of like manipulation of your photos as well. What do you have do you have something in mind when you start to do that, or is it just free form?
It depends on which photos, and especially with. Okay, there's like collage, photography and collage, but also the manipulation is something different, because when I do the manipulation, I actually trying to create something else from that photo, but I'm not sure what exactly. So it's just appear to me like doing the process. So I just need to like pick a photo that I see something like a tiny, and then just start to play with it, and it develop, and I start seeing other stuff. Usually it's just faces and like some kind of figures, and nothing really that you can really say. I forgot the word. Like, you cannot put the finger and say, okay, this is this. I don't know. It's a glass. It's a face. It's sometimes kind of a mix of things. Yeah, Photoshop. It's you get into it. It's kind of like, oh wow, it's already 5. It's like
But it's like you're capturing not so much like the streetscape or the building or whatever. It's more like you're capturing some sort of like inner space or emotion or feeling.
I actually, it depends on the energy. I don't have a lot of energy lately.
Yeah.
But when I do have the energy, and I actually, my problem with Bangkok, that is, you cannot really walk on the street. It's exhausting. It's hot. It's exhausting. You have a lot of smells, especially as a vegan vegetarian. The smells are killing me with all the
You
grill
don't
on
have
the
a lot of
street.
room to
And
walk either. No.
yeah, and but like, I like street photography. I mainly do dark street photography. I like to shoot like homeless and dark corners and weird stuff.
Is that because the energy or the?
No, it's just because I'm a dark person, I guess. It's I don't know. I always had some kind of attraction to like low life, not like subculture, um, and I'm trying like, while I'm doing that, like, it's always in my mind that like, it doesn't matter who you are or what is your position in your life at the moment. You can always get to that point. So you can never judge, and you don't know that person's story. How did he actually get there? Because when you talk with
It's
people,
a
you
thin
can see
drop
a lot
in
of
an unforgiving
stories.
society.
Especially if you talk with, let's say you hear a story about like rich people, like they invested in this and that, they have a lot of money, and then one day, 1 minute, like something crashed down and they lost their entire money. So they just find themselves on the street, they'll kill themselves, or you hear this kind of story. So yeah, I'm attracted to into the dark, and like I don't like the fake of today. It's like everything is beautiful. All those filters of making you younger and more beautiful and glamour and shiny and like you're in a walking commercial, real life. It's boring. People should have. People should be like who they are, but like live, like show their scars as well, not just covering up and hide themselves from things.
Maybe that's like part of the beauty of Bangkok as well. You can see the city scars in a way from like the way things have developed and like been torn down and rebuilt and like.
Well, it's getting plastered over.
Yes, I guess it's getting some band-aids now, a few, but
I still feel it's very apparent, or like it's poverty cannot be like hidden. And that's what I kind of do like about Bangkok. It's like there's such a like strong juxtaposition between rich and poor, and
they live
it's not
side by
divided.
side.
Exactly.
You can have like really beautiful, nice high-so building, and then 2 blocks, not even 2 blocks, like you have some kind of a slums.
Where I live, it's weird. Like it's a very like kind of suburban neighborhood with relatively nice houses, not super rich, but it's all like very clean. And actually, the poor neighborhood is wedged in between like 2 streets. Like it's strange. Like it's only a walking soy that goes into a soy that is like wedged between the houses. There's no road there, and it's only when you walk inside that you see like the.
And it's almost defined by that lack of road access, because they're not gonna. They may use trucks like in their work, but they don't.
Yeah,
they don't have a garage.
Yeah, it's really strange. It's really hidden.
I also find it very interesting that in Thailand that. Maybe I haven't traveled enough like into different culture, but let's take like a townhouse. So a family live there, right? So the first floor, let's say it's a garage. They're fixing cars. They're selling oil, all this, like it's a garage. But then they also live there. Like so. During the day, it's a garage, and then you see, after that, people like sitting there watching TV, and so it's also I find it very beautiful. I think that you can actually, it's like a simple life in a way, but you don't need more than that, because they seem also very happy about it, and of course the entire family live together. So. Which probably can be really annoying, but I don't know. That's I guess it's the mentality is different. So yeah. Also the let's say I don't know patpong and all the street walking and this kind of thing. It's also this kind of thing that in the beginning it was bothering me a lot. I couldn't see, I couldn't look. It was I went to a show one time like, and I was sitting there. I didn't want to touch anything. I didn't want to drink anything. I didn't want anyone to touch me. I was like sitting there. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like why I was like, and I'm looking all. People with numbers, like I'm in a market. They're like it's meat. It's meat that it's like alive, breathing, and someone's gonna use it.
Yeah.
And it's for me it's very hard to see those kind of things. I mean I can understand let's say prostitute or whatever, but there's like certain levels. Which I guess it's happened everywhere, but maybe not here. It's more normal, I guess, because you also get used to it. I mean, the day I walk on the street, I mean, it is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. I was just like thinking like whether I feel like because like the prostitution here is like directly linked to tourism, and it makes it feel more aggravating because I guess I keep thinking about this, but you know it like replicates like a colonial relationships between people who can afford to exploit another culture.
Yeah, these marketplaces were only set up around the Vietnam War, where American GIs would get their vacation days or when they're off tour, that they'd come into Bangkok. But where a little bit of this had already existed in the sense just that in Thailand there wasn't necessarily a Christian mentality of shame, you know, of an idea that you if you're gonna have sex that you have to marry someone first, and that if you're going to have sex that you need to be in a relationship with someone. Like in Thailand, that had already been the culture, the case that you could just that you could hook up with people, but then it became really commodified.
Interesting, because I feel like there was a shift, but I don't really know what caused it. Because I mean, if you see like all this stuff,
there's still a lot of conservatives in Thailand.
It's very conservative. Yeah. Well, my family, for instance, like when I would have like my friends come to visit, and they're like a gay man,
right?
She wouldn't let me sleep, like share the same bed with him.
It's still incredibly conservative in that sense, yeah.
So it's again, there's also a contrast in the mentality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it affects everything.
Right.
Starting from the mentality and the way the city developed, I guess, have influence on everything. I mean, in Thailand, there used to be, how you call it, like a third world country. It's way far from being a third world country. I mean, you can say that it's about Bangkok. Of course, there's like the villages, which I find very beautiful. I mean, it's very authentic, and the city is gonna become a monster in a way. It's
like a monster for like foreign investment and like speculation.
Yeah, because it's a city. There's a lot of movement, but it's a city that moves fast, but not like extremely fast compared to other metropolitan cities like New York, or that you feeling like I'm walking on the street. When I'm walking, I'm walking.
That you've got to rush. You've got to rush to keep pace. Yeah.
Yeah. People are walking slow on the street. It's like sounds just like. Let me move, and the smell, and so it's gonna. Magical Bangkok.
But you're leaving soon. Where are you off to?
Really? Are we gonna talk about it now? But I'll be coming back. I will be back.
Why are you leaving us, Mila?
I had enough. You know what? I'm gonna leave you now. Why am I leaving? I think I did my time. I mean, I think all the people who knows me here, they hear it for every year. It's like, yeah, I'm leaving soon. Yeah, maybe next year. Okay, soon. But then, it's about time. Closing circle for almost 10 years. I feel it's the right time to make a change, especially, I don't know if you want to call it an artist, I don't know, but for my soul, I need to move. I need to change.
Very personal.
I need to, so, you got to keep moving if you want to develop for new influence, to meet new people, new culture, and I met a lot of people, great people here in Bangkok, and Jam is one of my favorite place, and you can always see here a mixture of people. And I think also the part of, I know there is some kind of judgmental in general, because that's part of being human, I guess. But in Thailand, you don't really feel it. Or maybe it's just because I don't understand the language. I'm not sure.
You don't know if they're talking about you.
No, I'm sure they're talking, for sure. But I don't really care. But for example, if you talk about the gay community, for sure there is like tradition, but it's in general it's more open.
Yeah.
If you compare it to the West, you're not gonna see, let's say, a queer transgender working in 7-Eleven, or
Right.
in, it's more common, so you get used to it, and it's become normal. It's, even if it's against tradition, religion, or whatever, but the boundaries are like really, they're like blurred already, and that it's almost faded.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Well, you can like correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
I'm wrong, but
it is interesting, because I think I think it is true in a way, like what you're saying, because like I have internalized a lot of like, it's like fear of like, having to confront like homophobia, transphobia, and all that. So I tend to kind of keep to myself, and like, not like be open with my family about it. But then like I'll be pleasantly surprised when like my uncle like offhandedly made a comment, because like his wife is expecting a child, and then he's like, oh, guess the gender, and I'm like, oh god, I can't play this game, but I just like said random stuff like, I don't know, a girl, and he's like, I can't remember what he said, but he said like, oh, it's this gender, but once it grows up, it might become another, and then like who knows? And I'm like, whoa, like didn't expect you to like
that's a
say
big
this,
change.
but yeah,
it's a big change.
Maybe it is something that like, because like he's like an engineer, and it doesn't it's not like he's like part of the art community.
No,
or
but
anything,
you think it's something that happened as an evolution, they call it, like mentality evolution in Thailand, or it's because the West have some kind of influence?
Interesting.
About it.
I thought that it might be something about Thai culture that is that accepting to begin with, and maybe like the conversation now is focused on queerness and trans, and maybe like they just adopted, like they just kind of have the same view towards that than any other issue that like would come up.
And in the legal aspect, as specifically with regards to trans conscription, I was wondering how difficult would that is for people when they have to do the lottery. That how far along to prove, well, I'm a girl, I shouldn't really be here at all.
Right.
So
Right.
I was wondering
I
how.
don't really
I
know
mean, just
about
because
that,
conscription in general is a hot button issue now.
for sure.
That whether or not conscription even like leads to having good soldiers,
I haven't really followed the topic in Thailand, but I feel like they have been kind of like against even just like queer people enlisting, so I feel like they might just conflate it to like, you're not conform
Like
to
we-
our typical.
Like we don't think you're gonna follow orders anyway.
Yeah, or something like that. Maybe they would find a different way to phrase it.
So what the difficult part would be someone who is trans, who want to serve their
I think
country.
so.
That would be the other way around.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I think that's the problem with the U.S. too. They want to ban trans people to be the military, and then people wanted to, which is kind of funny. But
Yeah,
I guess it is important to have freedom.
your own value set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going back, forward or backwards?
I know. That's the
I'm
funny
not
thing.
sure anymore.
Yeah, I didn't know they were trying to ban trans people in the United
Trump.
States.
Among other things he's trying to do.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And they're rolling back on healthcare for transgender people too, which is scary.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I go to the LGBT center there, so I feel like it's fine. But
I think healthcare in the US, it's for
Bad in general.
everyone in
Yeah.
general. Yeah.
Yeah. But the LGBT center is really good. The one in LA.
They're not racist, and when it
No,
comes to that point,
yeah,
I think
and it's
already.
also not I mean, if you're not queer, you can go, and they do provide a lot of low income.
Oh, so there is
Free clinic work.
oh,
yeah.
And
Food shops and such.
what do you call that? The sliding scale.
Planned
Basic
Parenthood.
income. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean that's a big
Well, that's
issue,
that's
but-
its own
I know.
pitfall. Healthcare in America.
I know. And well, now I feel like I should just start saying things. But one of the things I find really fucked up is that if you're applying for a green card, you cannot be on Medi-Cal because they don't want anyone dependent on government funding or subsidies.
Yeah, but you still pay your taxes once you have your green card.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
even if you're not in the US, you need to pay.
Mm,
So, what is it worth?
yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Why are people
Why
struggling
is
to
it-
be there? Yeah. No, I mean, it is kind of scary to think of a government that is purposely trying to just make your life unlivable. And I think it is a discussion that me and my other immigrant friends in LA are always having, why are we trying to stay here? And somehow we couldn't, I mean, I guess the answers that we have for each other is just because there is a community that we feel strongly connected to here, and LA specifically, I feel has, I don't know, so much weirdness in itself, and that it kind of fosters this creative community, and there's just so many different types of art worlds there, that I feel it's enriching but at the same time disheartening because you can also see amazing artwork just being used for decoration in a mansion in Beverly Hills, and then you're is this what I'm working towards? But I think we don't know.
Do you find the contemporary art in LA that is it become more? Is it deep? I mean, it have something behind because sometimes it just look like bullshit. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I feel yes, a lot of it I'm not
There's a lot of
interested in.
yeah.
But I do enjoy making art there because I feel people are, or some people anyway, are earnest and okay about showing experiments or things that they are still working on it in process, and so you kind of I don't know, maybe I have a more unrefined version of these things, and that for me is an energy that helps everyone kind of create and pursue things, even if the end project might not necessarily be
Okay, but
efficient.
you
Yeah,
try and you do stuff.
right.
But and what do you think about the art scene in Bangkok? I mean, since
Wow.
you've been on and
Yeah.
off so many
Mhm.
times, and the art scene in here is,
Yeah.
you can say, kind of developed for the past few years. Changed. There's a lot of galleries
Mhm.
and a lot of, so.
Yeah, I'm really amazed by like the amount of work and galleries that have been opening here, and I think it is also an energy that I feel that's very productive. Um, and I think I am starting to see like work that I resonate with, and I feel good about it. I can't really think of anyone. Oh, I guess like a recent show that I went to that I really enjoyed was Tulip Hope's show at 100 Tone Zone.
What was it? Tulip.
Tulip Hope,
Uh-huh.
I think. I don't know
Pretty good.
the last name, but
It's a long name.
it's a long name.
Longer than yours.
You know, like I can't even read like other Thai names, but I'm like, yeah, I think this is a good name for me. But I don't know. I think like sometimes like maybe it does help for me to like see work that I can understand from my Western perspective. It really sucks. But then like seeing how like it's being used differently here, and to address topics that are more specific to the culture.
I felt something similar about Bangkok, like being able to see developing work was really interesting because I went I visited New York. This was like 5 years ago or something, and it was really I was there for maybe just 2 weeks, but it was really amazing, like seeing all kinds of really good shows and really good art. It was like every day you could see something like amazing there. But then when I came back here, I realized that I actually enjoy seeing the process and the development and growth of artists, which you can't really see there much because it's so competitive that you already
That
you have to be
so many
Yeah.
people you can only put your best stuff out there.
Yeah, you have to be
Right,
developed
right,
before
right.
you can even show something
Before you even get
generally.
your ticket there, yeah.
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 Right.
You have to make it somewhere else first.
Whereas here, you can see you can see young artists that maybe they haven't developed their craft yet, but you can already see that they're passionate and you can see kind of where they're coming from, and it's exciting to anticipate what they might do. See them changing and growing.
Well, they've still got fire in their hearts.
The growth is more interesting than the finished product, I think.
Yeah.
usually.
No, well, sometimes art is it's about the process,
Right.
not just about the final or whatever we come out with it.
Yeah, I definitely believe that, and I think that the way that you are able to witness process and things seems to kind of make the line between art and life closer, which is always exciting for me. Yeah, because it's not just kind of going in a gallery and experience something that has its own space and separate from your daily life. This is your life. What we're living or striving for it. I think bringing creativity in makes it much more interesting and diverse.
Mm.
Going into a room where it's all already been interpreted
Yeah.
that this is their life's work and this
Right.
is everything in relation to everything else that they did. That the narrative's set in stone already.
Yeah, I can't read didactics, or at least I have to look at stuff before I do.
But I think it's you can say that about basically anything, because we live, it's there's so much history in anything, everything, art, music, and we already saw and hear the develop, especially in music, the beginning of the electronic music, and then where it is today, and what's next? I mean, what else can be what else that you can create, but that it's new. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's not a merge of something, or like same thing in a different version, or like in a, I don't know, different colors, different tones, different.
Well, I think unless someone like builds a new technology,
Right.
Yeah.
I think anything that's new will be a merging of old
Yeah.
stuff that you just won't necessarily realize that it'll be from far enough back that you wouldn't that nobody would remember it and
Yeah, the only examples I can think of like just like completely new art forms is because of like emergence of technology, like electronic music and something like that.
Yeah, but then at the same time, I mean, I guess music is different. But I'm thinking about like new technology in art. I feel like doesn't shift much the conceptual conversation.
Right, it doesn't
Like,
change the
yeah,
ideas, right?
right.
It just paints them differently, or
Yeah.
like puts a different skin on them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But today you also have like the robot that you can just like, okay, do this, do that, and then
Right.
you just do it, so, why would we want
why
to
are we
be
doing this?
I mean,
Yeah.
you can also just buy a coloring book too. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean art is dead,
Yeah.
no, art is not dead. I'm just like, wait, you cut my
Sorry.
Thought your robot fantasy.
Yeah, I lost it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to to remember, but no, this last night was really. I lost a few cells.
10 years in Bangkok.
Yeah. Oh man. I barely have left.
It's all depleted now. That's what they say about the West Coast too. Like, it's so hot there, and people just like go surfing, so you don't have to use your brain so much.
You plan, you come here like pretty regularly, like once a year roughly, or?
Well, I started doing. I guess I've been doing that before, but I've never stayed so long, like a whole month.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, are you planning on like trying to work here more? Like, generally, you come to visit your family, right, and kind of see what's going on here. But are you planning to try to produce here as well, or like do some work while you're here?
Yeah. Well, next year, since there's like the biennials, I don't know which one. The biennials. I'm hoping to like stay longer and like maybe organize something around that. And like speaking about like I don't know, architecture and urban planning, like I really have this like fantasy of like asking my like artist friends from abroad to like give me like almost like a set of instructions of like what action they want me to perform in which location in Bangkok, and just like basing it just purely on like their own desires and like projections on a city that they don't know, and in a way that would be like an experience for me to like see Bangkok through their eyes, but also interacting with it in a way that I would never have like imagined myself. Yeah, so I'm kind of like toying with that idea right now.
That's for your next visit.
Hopefully, yeah. But while I was here, I was also taking a lot of footage of Rashdamnoon Avenue, because I mean, I kind of like to look at monuments and all that stuff, and especially like in places where like power is made much more apparent. So I just like took a footage of me walking from the Grand Palace to Anantasamakum Throne Hall, and I was like just like struck by how like once you reach the Democracy Monument, the whole street like changed. Like it used to be like the first section was just like touristy and kind of like neglected, dirty. There's a lot of stores. In commerce, and then like after that it was just like deserted, and you just see some like soldiers stationed in front of like official buildings and stuff, and then Ananta is just like completely
Again, it's
like,
a contrast.
yeah, and then I guess like seeing how power inscribes itself in the actual space, because he has power to kind of like clear out like and section off like parts of the city. It seems like, I don't know, such an like a magic trick or something, or like the traffic on the freeway suddenly disappears for like the royal convoy, like where like it feels so like surmountable, like you can't like get over it as a good normal person, but then like it just takes someone with immense power to like defy these laws, I guess.
So you want to do more like video work as well then? You say you're shooting like that,
yeah,
you're shooting under the highways and stuff.
right.
Is that for you're shooting with the intention to use that for future projects?
Yeah, I mean the freeways I've already made into like a performance where I use like 3 projectors. So one has like these like views of the freeways, and then another one superimposing it is like kind of like my research on the monument to the 14th of October uprising. Anyway, I mean like I can go into it, but so I kind of bring the 2 spaces together, like me living and navigating the space of LA, but also like connecting the dots in like Thai history, I guess. And then the third projector is subtitles that I made. That is basically the script, but I like move those words across like the 2 spaces, basically.
Oh, it's not just like sub.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
their dynamic.
The dynamic, yeah.
So all your work is basically, it's very dynamic.
Mhm,
Everything
mhm.
you do is there is
Yeah.
always movement.
I try to. Yeah, and then my body intercedes between the projections. So sometimes my silhouette would reveal the other projection, and I cut that out into like the other one. So anyway, so the thing that I was taking, I'm thinking of either doing a video work or kind of like a similar projection style stuff. But I think it is also like a convenient way to like take monuments, without like remaking it into like a physical form.
We're all thinking.
I know.
I'm thinking about that area.
Yeah.
If you're talking about like the contrast of the sound as well in that area.
Right.
Like once you enter that zone, it's just like peaceful and quiet, and
Yeah.
like, also the sound for me, like audibly, is a stark contrast as well.
Yeah. It seemed almost like sci-fi to, like when you reach the plaza and they just kind of like, I saw like a row of like guards, like all wearing white, just like walked in 2 lines across the plaza, and then there are these like little guard houses, and above the houses are giant screens showing ceremonies that are presided by like Rama IX, and then no one else in the street, like who is the viewer of these like.
Well, it is a tourist area.
But then the
tourist
tourists
attraction.
don't go there. Like I was the only one walking the street.
Maybe it's too hot outside. Maybe it's the wrong time of day.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, like the only crazy person. I know. I was walking by the soldiers, and I'm like, are they
It's
asking
played in
themselves?
malls. In malls.
Yeah,
there's
right.
more.
No, totally.
Maybe it's just made for you to see it just then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like okay, someone's coming. Gotta turn it on the TVs.
The museum we went to was like that. We went to a museum
Oh, yeah.
of like
Labor.
rights or of labor history,
Mhm.
and yeah, we first like when we were there, we like got pretty close, but we couldn't exactly see where the building was, and we just parked nearby, and we were like walking, and we were like, is that Is that the building? Like, I don't know. It looks like part of the
Someone's
old train
house.
yard or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it looked like an old office for the train
Uh-huh.
yard or something, like a
Yeah.
house. And then we go up and like the lights are all out, but it's like the opening hours. We like knock on the door, we peek inside, and somebody comes out and turns the lights on. It's like, oh, sorry, like like they actually open, but just nobody goes there, so they have to
It is
come and
sad.
turn the lights on for just us to enter.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a really old museum. It's been, I think it was built in the 80s, like.
I don't remember the
maybe
exact
90s,
date.
or-
Yeah.
I don't remember either actually. But
In the
yeah, it's
80s?
I think
That's not
maybe
that-
like. No,
I know,
no,
right?
right. It's not that old.
Yeah.
But sorry, you're right. It's not that old.
It's like older museums
It
in
feels-
Thailand. For
It's
sure.
like my age.
It feels old though because like it hasn't. You can tell like it hasn't been
Right.
changed since
Right.
it was created. Like they've never
Goes
Oh yeah, they
touched
never changed
anything in there.
display.
Like it probably looks
You can
exactly
see a lot
the
of
same.
kind of thing like in Chinatown, for example. That
Mm.
Kobo, that old Kobo store. Like,
The what store?
it's like a department store.
Oh
and
yeah,
it's like-
yeah.
On Nightingale.
Yeah, you know that one.
Yeah.
It's I'm not sure of the name. I'm really bad with names. Usually it's very long. So, and you also have this. And talking about the sounds, I think that you have it everywhere because every main road in Bangkok, you have so many small soys that turns into a small soy that have lead to a small soy
Yeah.
that you can. The contrast again. I think the main thing about Bangkok is contrast in everything.
Mm.
You can switch
The
like
the cold air in
Very-
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
yes.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a wonder no one gets.
But what we do without 7.
Yeah.
They don't have to sell anything, just AC. You know, it's like Sesame Street. Like you want to buy like air for a cent. or something like that.
Did you know that
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
7-Eleven has a gallery now?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh.
They hosted an art show. I think that recently closed.
Oh, so it's
It's
already
called,
in the past.
it's called 7.
Really?
Where is
Where
it?
is
It's
it?
it's somewhere in Sathon, and I think it's just like in like office building kind of
Mm.
high rise, and they have like a section.
Oh,
You should
interesting.
look into it.
So I mean, when I was in Israel, like like in my 20s, I used to work for like also some kind of late night. I took the night shift, but it was some kind of like 7-Eleven in a way. And one day we did some kind of a collaboration with the art festival.
Oh wow.
So we, of course, I was the craziest, so I was the only one that was up for it. So basically, we just built a small 7-Eleven in like it was like divided to rooms. So we built a 7-Eleven in a room, but everything was just display empty. And I was like sitting there, you know, with the cashier and everything. And people went in to buy stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
nothing. I'm not selling anything.
Oh my God.
There's nothing here for you. Like, please. I'm like, no.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
People was shocked.
Was there
And
anything
I was like,
on the shelves, or was everything? Was
everything. It was like
Oh, so it's
a
fully
proper,
stocked.
yeah, fully.
Try
yeah,
your
like
best to buy
ice
something, I
cream,
dare you.
you know, yeah. Freeze,
But nothing for
like
sale.
freezer, nothing for sale.
It's just display only.
You should saw like the disappointment of the people. Like you know,
Wow.
it's like they packing, and I was like,
Oh my God. Yeah.
put it back.
Is there price tags on the things?
Yeah, everything was like exactly the same, more or less.
With-
But it
with
was empty.
Oh.
There was nothing inside.
Or nothing inside the packaging?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That seems like an
But
intense
people
one.
still came and like you know, they thought it's a thing. Yeah.
That's very intense.
No, because it's
Yeah.
kind of more or less the same. I mean,
Right.
if they did, I don't know
Yeah.
what they did in 7, but it's
No.
just popping in my
Oh,
head.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think it's just like a art gallery.
it's just
yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Now the
Yeah, this is
gallery
having
with the
name.
logo of 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're gonna stock the shelves with art.
I mean,
Just like really cheap art.
I know. This painting you can get for like
Don't promote
70
it.
baht.
You get-
Yeah.
You get stamps back.
But I was thinking that like you were kind of performing a very hard role too, to kind of like witness these people like.
No, it was
Being
actually
funny.
Really amusing because I like to say no to people.
Okay,
You know?
it's your dark side coming out.
I like to say, yeah. Like, you
Yeah.
can see them like, nope. What? No, put it back. No, yeah, it's closed. We're like, it's just a display. It's like, so what are you doing here? I'm just sitting
Are you
here.
being paid?
No, I'm just sitting here. Someone needs to sit here, so that's me.
Wow.
It was funny because also some of the people that actually came to the
Shop.
normal
Yeah.
shop that actually working, they came to that festival and they were surprised to see me. But I'm not telling. I
They
mean,
didn't
everything
think-
is
yeah.
there, but
Yeah.
you know, they cannot buy anything. So
I feel like it hits this like frustration in like consumerism, where like
I think it's
They
part
kinda
of the
do it.
also the. It doesn't matter. Like people will always buy.
yeah,
Whatever you know, even if it's you, how can I say that? Even if you don't really need it, you're gonna go check what's inside,
Yeah.
and maybe you will feel like you want something. Maybe you will find something that you might want or feel like eating or drinking,
It's like a
even if you're
compulsion
not
to just
really,
buy
you know.
something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So here you go to 7 sometimes just for the AC, right?
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I need a bit of refreshment, so aircon. But on the way, you also, if you don't need, okay, maybe I will buy a bottle of water, and then you know, you find your bag full
Yeah.
of snacks. And you know, you like the cheese toast and whatever, but
The next day you're like, how did I eat all these
Yeah.
snacks?
Yeah.
it's just
True.
I
Mountain
came
of
just for the
packaging.
AC. But,
yeah. Have you guys seen that movie? I think it's James Franco, The Dictator, where he went to
Yeah.
interview
I,
whatever North Korean like dictator, and the first time he went through the city, like everything looks so nice. That's just this convenience store like full of food. But then when he like realized that it's all a scam, like he tried to go to the store and realized it's just like vinyl.
yeah, it's like,
Printed on it, like-
it's like a movie set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Temkin Town.
Weird. So I guess I suppose they opened a gallery as like oh,
Whoa,
what is that?
I'm used to make a mess. Did I?
No, you
No,
don't.
it's good.
Just to do some like pro green art shows or something to like, you know what I mean?
To wash their
Yeah,
sins
yeah.
away.
But the 7-Elevens, they don't have the logos on the plastic bags anymore. So if you have a plastic bag with a 7-Eleven logo, it's really rare now. It should be a collector's
It's a collector's item.
Yeah. It's a collector's item now.
Oh my god, that's amazing. People.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, they're rare enough to collect. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I like trying to think back, like, did I keep anything? But it's not. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
but yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like there's a lot of like corporations that are trying to like host art exhibitions.
Huh.
And I mean, Facebook has like a whole like artist in residency program. My friend works as an art handler for them in Menlo Park.
Oh.
And I mean, and they have like warehouses where they just like store art that they buy, and I think it's just like an investment scheme.
Oh yeah, money laundering.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That, and it's also just like they have an idea in their mind of good PR.
Right. Yeah, they have a whole print shop where they just make posters for Facebook. That are
Posters?
yeah,
Physical posters.
like screen printed and everything. But I don't really know
Where
where they go. I mean, it's all over the campus, but like, and they send it out maybe to the other offices, yeah.
I've never seen like Facebook sponsorship anywhere. I don't think so.
Facebook sponsoring.
Yeah, I was like telling them that the main headquarters of Facebook in Menlo Park has like an artist in residency program and an art collection. Then they also have like a print shop where they make these posters.
No,
But
they
I don't
probably
really
do
know
it for tax or to show that like they help the community or stuff like that. I mean, I think there is like always something behind it. They don't just want to sponsor stuff. Or,
I know. When my friend was working there, they had this whole like Filipino family, like artist family, come in and do a residency, and I think that's like
the entire family.
Mm-hmm. The whole family collaborate together.
Wow.
I know, it's really weird. But I don't know, I've never heard of them. They're called Fruit Juice.
Yeah, I've seen like family jam bands before, but like not an artist
The
family.
Carpenters.
Yeah.
Wait,
one of the best. Come on.
Huh?
One of the best.
It's funny that they're based in Menlo Park, where that the Menlo Park in Jersey was Edison's like workshop town.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Just one monopoly to another, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what founded among the things that founded L.A. that the Edison had the patent on film stock that you couldn't. Right. That if you tried to make your own movie, Thomas Edison's company would sue you.
Oh my god. Wait, but then why did they decide to like I don't know, like found like Hollywood like on the other side of the coast?
Because Edison enforced this his patent with actual like thugs, like how a movie would cost a nickel. So people would come in when people are trying to watch the show. Thomas Edison will hire a local Jersey mafia to break it up. Get out of here, and push people out. And
wow, that's fascinating.
Or when someone's trying to film something on the Jersey boardwalk, that they'll ruin the set.
Wow.
So
Even
getting physically away from the East Coast.
Right.
But usually when you're filming,
also it's good conditions, right? It's good lighting conditions too.
Right.
No, but you also, if I know it's like, I think most of cities, like if you want to shoot a movie or something, you need to get permission, and you schedule dates and everything. You know, it's like how can a person can just kick them out, or if they just.
Because until the court system said something that he owned a patent for the material itself for the film that he owns the technology, and in the same that's why I think it's funny that Facebook owns the technology, and that they've got basically a monopoly on social media.
No. Every time I open my
Not
WhatsApp.
just social media.
Yeah.
They're also on WhatsApp now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Instagram too. When you
And Instagram,
open Instagram, it's like
From
Instagram,
Facebook.
From Facebook, yeah. It's like whoa.
WhatsApp as well,
Yeah.
and WhatsApp is not it's not a social media. It's just
Just a
texting,
messenger, yeah.
messenger.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Big.
Things we're part of.
Not too different.
I don't know, wonder if it is possible to be an artist today without social media. Because I know some like actually more musician friends who don't have social media. But as artists, like it just takes so much work to like get people to come to see your show.
It depends what kind of art you're doing, and it depends on the drive of the artist, you know, if the point is to be recognized or not, you know.
I think in general, not just in art, in any
business.
branding, business, whatever. If you're not on social media, you're not exist.
Mm. Yeah, it's a scary
Because
thing.
everything happening today in social media.
Well, the other
Everything is virtual. There's a lot of people that are not going out from the house. They just sit all day in front of Instagram, Facebook, whatever, Netflix, and between the Netflix or whatever dinner, they just scrolling and scrolling. So if you're not there, you not exist. And also you have like, don't forget the online shops that people buy. You know, most of the
Right.
a lot
Shift
of
to
mall
you. Yep,
clothes
the other
because
monopoly.
especially in the U.S., I guess.
Yeah. Totally.
Most of people buy online.
Yeah.
It's hard not to when it's actually cheaper and more convenient too, though. Like I was in Fortune the other day. I don't remember what I was getting, something from Fortune, and I realized like I was like, oh, the only reason I come here is because I need this. Like I can't wait for it to be mailed to me because everything in there is more expensive.
Wow.
Like if I buy it online, I know
It's cheaper.
it's
Yeah.
cheaper. Everything like.
Yeah,
I
economies
never
of
bought
scale.
anything
At
online.
Fortune Town, they've got to
Never.
pay rent on
Maybe
Good
it's
for
the
you.
flight ticket, but
Yeah.
not like
Right.
it's not like
It's hard.
you know.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
not
I did some
something,
Amazon. Yeah. That's
I
really
mean,
lucky.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
if
when
it's
you
like a
sit in
local shop, if I know it's like a family-run business, I don't mind paying extra to like support their family or whatever. Owning a business, I prefer that.
yeah.
But when it's a mall like Fortune and
Yeah.
there's nothing personal about it to begin with, I'm like,
Right.
why am I even?
Yeah, but still, it's more physical in a way.
It is, yeah.
There is no
It is a
connection.
different
You know,
experience,
it's like
but it's not a nice experience. No,
Well,
just
I
kidding.
know,
You,
you have to
you
go
can
through
find
the
some cool
malls.
stuff in there actually.
Yeah.
There's like what's the name of that shop? Oh, I'm not gonna remember. But there's some like interesting stuff to be found in there as well, and that's like part of like life is like getting out and moving around and exploring.
yeah.
Yeah.
People become like it's more easy, and if you're lazy, you just click. It's delivered to you within like sometimes in 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I'm more old school, I guess. And I read like an article the other day about that money will not exist in a few years. Everything will be through your phone,
Right.
Cash, the cash.
Yeah, the cash. I'm terrified. I don't want to think. I mean, I don't want to.
Then you really lose your
It's
privacy
just-
if
it's
you don't
too
have
much.
Because
paper
everyone
cash.
knows.
Come
Right,
on,
right,
it's too
right,
much.
right.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an argument to like say that they'll reduce like crime and like black market and stuff because everything's gonna be monitored?
Yeah, they do it because they want like some kind of transparency, but they also they want to own you in general.
Right.
Know every move, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the black market will still exist. You'll just have to pay more to have it hidden
No,
and
but
to have it marked down as something else.
Right. Right.
The black market will still exist.
It's already
Yeah,
it's
for
already
sure.
getting there. Like with
in
with like,
China.
with like online services, like they always want your phone number now and always want your like all your information, want to link to your social media account. Like the other day, I opened up like Major Cinema just because I wanted to check a movie time, and it opened the website to like me filling in like some promotional form, and I was like,
Wow.
that's like what it forces me into from the beginning of
That's
the
so
web page.
scary.
I was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
it's really-
They tracking us all the time, basically. It's like when you search something, let's say on Google, you wanna buy a camera, right? So you search whatever, and then you close the window and you go on Instagram to your account just to check up, and then you have all these sponsors for like a camera, this, that, so that like a minute after.
Things that you were just searching for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Do you
they know. Yeah.
Do you think it's the kind of food like we're feeding? Because like if you think about AI as like a creature or an entity, do you think like data we're like basically feeding it, like growing some like entity by giving it like all these? I suppose it's not necessarily food, but it's more like giving it eyes. You know, like you're by giving information to a machine, you're allowing it to like see the world around it better. So in a way, you're like raising the consciousness
That the input creates the interpretation.
Mm-hmm. Like a computer can only perceive what information you give it. Yeah.
Right.
I think it's like because right now we're getting all this data collected on us, and unknowingly, it's without really us getting asked about it. Like, for instance, like like Facebook and Google, they'll be collecting all this data, but if you go into your like account and see, there's no way for you to actually see that this data has been collected because it's not in your. It can tell you like your activity, which is just like things that you have liked or who you become friends with, all that sort of stuff. So all that is visible, but they've collected all this stuff that isn't visible to us, and they kind of trade it, they sell it to advertisers or whatever, and we have no idea because it's like completely invisible. The same as Google, like scanning our emails, probably our microphones or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, and it's like a commodity that we haven't. It's like a new commodity that we don't really know or understand, and like some companies are, making, I guess, exploiting to their benefit. Like,
They also sell those lists actually from companies. That's a known thing. And then they start sending you a lot of shitty emails. I mean that you're not even like related to that, but you just send it to you because they bought this list of client of something, but they just want to promote something else. It doesn't matter what, but that's the way to connect with you. I give you an example. I was applying for this because I'm going back to Israel. So I was applying for. There's a once a year. There's it calls Fresh Paint Festival. It happened once a year. It's a festival for contemporary art for new artists that was not really had like the blow up explosion yet. And they at the first 3 days they have a lot of collectors and galleries that come, and the next few days you have like visitors that come. So I applied for this festival, and of course you need to pay a certain amount, like any whatever application. Yeah. A week later, I'm getting a weird email like from someone from Milano that is not even like, I have no idea. She's like, oh hi Mila, I'm Julia from Milano, blah blah blah, this gallery, we're having this visual festivals on screen, I thought you might be interested in that. And of course it costs money. I mean, if I want to be part of it, I need to apply and like pay like, I don't know, 200 euro, something like that. But how did you get to me? I mean, I don't know you. We don't have nothing, no mutual anyone. So they, once you apply for something,
they sell your email. And
they own you. I mean, so.
Wait, it's like applying to like residencies and things.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. I think it's the same. I don't know why. Maybe it's.
it might be hidden under the terms and services. We will be sharing your contact details to our affiliates or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, the gallery might not even know
have
they might be
own,
part of the
right.
form registration
It's the platform.
site.
Right.
Yeah. Just once you're in some kind of a circle, they share their own, list of people that have interest at that thing. So they're just sharing the names.
And it seems like the value in it is created by the ability to manipulate people. That's why they want more information about you, is so they can like do more research and figure out how to make money from you better. So like, about iBeacons? There is like basically like a low frequency Bluetooth technology, and it can be like a really small chip that just sends out like a ping every now and again. Like it's very low frequency in the sense that like it only sends out a ping every like 20 seconds or something. So it can run on a very small battery for a very long time. And if you write software to like connect to the beacon, it kind of works as like a sonar, because it can detect like how long it takes for the signal to get to your phone. So it can tell how far you are from the beacon. So if they haven't already started doing this, what they're gonna do is like if you place just like 3 of them in a room, or more efficiently like 4 of them in a room, and you ping them all at the same time, they can calculate your position in the room.
Location triangulation.
Yeah, they can do triangulation on
The same
so
way
they
a
can
cell
tell
tower.
like where you're standing in the room. So what they're gonna start doing is putting these in shops, and now if you have like whatever app installed on your phone that can ping those points, and they can see where your location is, they can tell like what products you stand in front of longer than others, or like, you know what I mean, like what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So then they start to collect information about your habits of like what you like,
Well, basically,
what you're not even buying, but what you're looking at, maybe thinking about buying, or like
Economy of attention.
if they connect to your phone, which obviously they do,
Yeah.
it's like get inside your life in a way, because like you said, they know where you're going. They know how much time you spend at this in front of this place or this product,
and then through algorithms, they don't really have to analyze the data. The computer just analyzes the data for them and figures out,
Because it's
like,
all way too much for an
Your-
accountant to code through, or an actuary, yeah.
but they can figure out like what these movements mean and about your habits, and like
Would it be like, for us, we're kind of really suspicious about these sort of things with the sort of younger kids? Would this be completely just normal and just given? Like, or were they, like, I don't know. Was it just like, we kind of,
I think they just accept it
yeah.
because they was
like,
born and raised to it, and just like
Right.
it is what it is. They don't know anything else.
Well, I mean, I think it could depend whether they grow up in an urban environment or not, or
What is a normal environment?
an urban environment.
Urban. No, but today.
I mean, there's still lots of dead spots in America. I mean,
Yeah, but still, everyone today have
Everyone
an
has
iPhone,
phones.
like a smartphone.
I witnessed like a baby trying to I don't know, like, or being very attracted to the phone. Like the screen is off and everything, it's just laying on the table, when it just like really wants to like take it. And I just wonder if like there's something about the design that responds to people just kind of like intuitively, in a way.
It might also be just like seeing other people use it all the time. Like dogs are like that. Dogs will see you like eating something, and they just want to eat it because they see you eating it. You know, it might be something that a dog might normally not want to eat, like fruit or something, but just
Well, same as babies.
Yeah, same.
when smartphones were pretty new, I mean, like adults that were having trouble with their new device, kids took to it really easily.
Yeah.
There is something to that. That it's
Intuitive.
the touch UI, that's.
No, but they need to. Okay, they're touching, but they still need to know what to touch to do something. I think like if you're talking about kids.
But it's
today,
instantly reactive, though. It's
yeah.
And
but they
there's
also
very little
watching you doing that. So obviously they copying you, and they just do it better like after that because they're.
I don't think it's just copying. I think it's just curious enough to
curiosity,
touch things that are bright, and then
Right.
it'll react to it.
of course, it's like I put for my cat. There's like on YouTube, you have a lot of different like videos like for animals if you want to amuse your animals. I know it sounds stupid, so I thought like
Yeah,
okay,
the other.
I will try it. Let's see what happens. So I found this. I have a cat, so I found this like video. It's like cheese with mouse and they're moving. It was like, and you have the no music, but you have the sound of the mouse.
Mm.
So she was like, she was trying to catch them. And then she was looking around like to see maybe she can go in or from the side or like, so it's very
The
fun.
predator's
So I
pathing.
like,
A couple of weeks ago, thinks is really funny too. So she pulls out music to make dogs sleep, or for dogs to sleep to, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then she pushed play, and it sounded like kind of like a lullaby for like humans, and I was like, that's bullshit.
That's fake.
And then my friend's dog just like lays down on the floor and closes his eyes. I was like,
Oh my god.
what? Does this really work? Like,
Wow.
really
That's
strange.
scary.
I don't know if I don't know if it was just a coincidence, but
Wow.
You need to
seems
test that
weird.
again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
I know.
Yeah, you should try that. I wonder if it will work on one knee.
I think it
It's
like
quite
had,
active.
it had like birds chirping as well or something. Yeah, I can't remember.
Interesting.
Really, really, really. Yeah, designing technologies for animals as well. I wish
There was a
like
market for everything.
wish there was as much like because this is all user experience design, right? Like you said, like designing something that kids can just like push randomly and figure out how to use it is all the job of some designer somewhere. I wish it's a shame that that level of effort isn't put into like designing experience like to open people's mind a bit more or like change in a positive way, like it's all about like manipulating people generally for money, I guess.
Oh, that's how it works today.
Yeah.
I was thinking like in art curation, of course that's like the job of is that the job of a curator, or is there another person that like designs the installation? You know what I mean?
I mean, that's like the curator that has, I feel like, the conceptual idea, and then like obviously choosing the artworks, but then you can also have like a exhibition designer if like it's, I don't know,
if you have enough money
to pay. Exactly. Yeah.
So what did we learn today?
A lot of things.
Money
runs everything.
money and concrete, like even
Money and concrete.
Got dark at the end.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for hosting us.
That's it? No.
Wow.
No,
You got anything
on your
I
mind?
don't want to say what I want to do because just shut it down. I cannot do it in front of the camera. Just smoking a cigarette, a normal cigarette, just for the record. For the record, I'm not gonna say the brand. Sorry,
They're
Dan.
watching us.
Adios.